another studio session. I'm Reese. If this is your first time, welcome to my little studio. So this past week I did a lot of little things, a lot of like sketchbook work and playing around, and so I'm going to show you a little bit of that, and I'm going to show you a little bit more detail of what I did last week out in the field, a little bit more details, because I think that you might like it. It's very peaceful and it's beautiful out there. So I wanted to share with you that. And I had a little surprise out in the woods that I'm going to share with you at the very end. So hang out for that. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, all that stuff. Make a comment or an emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. So I got something in the mail today that I thought you might like to see. I was a little torn about this, but the company that makes these particular books is a really good company. I've got another book made by this company, and it's a great book. It's always produced really, really well, so I'm going to share that with you today. I've also got something else that I'm going to share with you that you probably also will find very interesting, and I'm very excited about. I was like giddy when I found out I had the opportunity to get it, and so I'm excited to share that as well. So let me get something to open this. Let's see here. Boy, that's a chunky book. So this is what I've gotten. A book on Van Gogh. Look how thick that thing is. It's heavy. It's not like very big that way, but it's thick. So I want to open this up. I'm never sure, so I don't like buying needless books, and we will see how I feel about this. I got a few books recently, and mostly because I'm interested in being a little bit more abstract with some of my work. So I wanted some actual physical books that would be inspirational. And I can't say I'm a hardcore Van Gogh girl, but I do like some of his work. So the book's beautiful, the cover's beautiful. That's what it looks like there and there. Pretty famous painting. I do think his self-portraits are interesting. So let's just take a look and see what I got. Part of me just wants to flip, because it's too much for me to share like page by page. Lots of images. Some small. How do I feel about this? I don't know if I love it right this second. I do like some more of these landscape pieces. I don't know if I feel like the colors are on par with what I think. I could be wrong. That's kind of cool. Like that dude with his hat and his beard and his pleasant face. Of course, there's the cover. Some of it's interesting. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm gonna have to mull this over, I think. I do like these. Now I think these are some images that I saw that I thought were more compelling. These images of just random trees, like blossoms on it. Are these cherry blossoms? I don't see. No, it says it right now. Peach trees. Okay. Peach blossoms. Some of these images are really cool. There's I'm not too sure about. I feel like I want a book on Van Gogh. That's interesting how he did the variations of colors and same pose, slightly different variations. But I don't know if it's going to be this one. These are nice. That's nice. I love this with all the texture. I don't know if you can see it, but the background of this painting has a lot of texture. Squeaky on my table. Sheer size. I really don't know how I feel about this just yet. I'm kind of leaning towards a no. I did like these before, where he stayed at this one place where there were haystacks and fields and crows and that sort of thing. He painted a lot of that there, and see, here's the haystacks. I think it was like one of the homes he stayed at. So interesting. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this book right this second. It's nice that it has so much. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to mull it over. See if I think this is worth keeping, because I don't like stuff that just takes up space. For the sake of taking up space, it has to be really something that offers me something. Got a plane going over. There are some really interesting images. I do love these self-portraits. It kind of makes me want to do a series of self-portraits. I've done some off and on and throughout my life, but certainly not a full-on painting. I've just done partial, like paintings of my eye or something, and I've drawn my face and stuff. But yeah, I have to mull this over. I'm not sold, to be honest with you. So I don't know if I would recommend it off the bat, unless you just thought that seemed amazing to you. But Taschen, I don't know how to say this, Taschen. They usually make really great books. But I'm a little disappointed, I think, overall. But I will mull this over and see if I can find another recommendation. There are some images in here I find compelling, though. I will say that. There are some. Definitely. Some that I think it's worth keeping, but I'm not sold on the overall book just yet. So what else I'm about to show you? It is nothing like my own work, but it's made by somebody who I admire. And if you're an admirer of her too, you will recognize this probably right away. I don't have the same style. I just admire her, and if you saw my last video, you'll know I admire her. So I got a chance to acquire this snow painting by Sandy Hester. You can see there's her name. So she just recently made a video about this. This was out in her front yard, or out in her side yard, and this is her house. And a lot of the things about this that really struck me was I love the winter, I love the bones, I love teal colors, so I love the overall color of this painting and the composition. This is her house, and what I do love about this is, like, she even put a light on in the window. Put a little light on in the window. And I love this crow. Well, if you saw my last video, you'll know I like blackbirds, or the imagery of blackbirds. So I got a chance, and I bought it. I snagged it up. I was like, whoa, that's amazing that I saw a landscape, because I do enjoy her landscapes probably the most. I mean, I like some of her other fun, whimsical stuff that she does too, but her landscapes are always really kind of cool to me. I love how loose they are. So I got a chance to purchase it, and so I did. And now I've bought a frame today. So I'm going to be framing it up and hanging it up in my studio. So I have a few artists' work that have inspired me over the years. Recently, if you saw the video, I bought a couple of small cards that were actually quite a steal of Melanie Chadwick, who is another YouTuber who's quite prominent. I also really love her work a lot. She's also very much a person who likes to sketch in nature. That's her main thing that she does, I think, overall. And then I bought some other artwork of other prominent people that I love, that do art in completely different styles. So yeah, isn't that so cool? I got a chance. I was giddy when I looked at the website, when I saw this particular video, because there's a whole video kind of dedicated to doing this painting out in a recent snowstorm they had up there in Tennessee. And so I got to see the whole process of her making the decision to go out and paint that day, and how she was all set up on this big table with all her paints and her jacket all bundled up. And this was the product of the day. And so I just jumped on her website really quick, and I'm like, well, let me just see, like, is that available? And it was, and it was in a range that I could afford. I would love to have like one of her large whimsical paintings on canvas, but I don't really have the room for it, or not a place that's designated for something like that. And just also the movability of something is difficult for me, because I'm going to be kind of in transition in the next few years, I think. It's my anticipation. So I'm always kind of cautious about what I'm getting. So that's why I'm also cautious about books and stuff when I buy them. But I was just, like I said, I was giddy. I was so excited when I realized I was able to snatch it up, and I reached out and I emailed, and Grady responded, and so I snagged this little painting, and I'm gonna hang it on the wall for daily inspiration on top of all the videos I get to watch that she provides us on her channel. So cool, right? Anyways, I had to share, and when I get it hung up, I'll share that too. So I wanted to share with you a couple things that I actually did this past week after getting this book. I did play with one of the images in here. At first, I wasn't too sure about this book, but I will say, it being, sorry, and if this is shaking the table, it being that thick, there are a lot of images in here. I definitely do not like the early years. This muddy look that he had, not my thing at all. but later on, all the colors and the still lifes and landscapes, portraits, a lot of gorgeous stuff in here. One of the things I ended up really liking was I saw some of the drawings he did, and I thought, wow, I'd never really noticed that he did such nice drawings like this one. I don't know if you can see it up close, but he did a lot of variations, and I saw one of these online as well, but I think it's like a ink and brush and maybe a quill pen, because the line has such a variation in it. That was really gorgeous. This book being so heavy, it's kind of squeaky. And then there was this one that I saw. There's several of his drawings that I thought were kind of interesting. I'm like, wow, that's pretty... I never really noticed those before. But what I did was, I do like a lot of his trees and landscapes, as you might suspect. I'm sorry if I have a glow here. Let me see if I can get there to be less of a glare. I saw this tree and I thought, this might be a fun page to play with. So, because I definitely don't normally work in such strong colors. So I got my book out again, and so I did this version of it. It's just a cropped version of it. Let me put this underneath here so you can kind of see what I did. Just using Prismacolors. I was not trying to make it look exact. And I did my own variation on it. It's not quite as maybe wonky as his is. I did my own take on it. Like I said, just using Prismacolors. And I'm always kind of iffy with Prismacolors. Sometimes I like them. In this situation, I thought it was a good medium to get some really bright colors in my journal quickly. Especially on this journal with the thin pages. So I liked it in the situations, but in other situations, not so much. So you remember last week I showed you that image of a person, and yes, some of you guessed correctly, that was Sandy Hester. But after I played with this, I tried another version of her, and it started off good, but then I started using the Prismacolor, and it went really south. So I'm a bit ashamed to show you this, and the other thing that I did that was a bit tragic was I started touching the drawing that I showed you last week, and now it looks not so good. I'm not happy with it, so I'm going to show that to you now. It's kind of hard to show you, but I'm going to show you. Yeah, this was the original one, and it got all messed up. It looks terrible now, and this one started off good. I felt good about it. Felt like I was getting a likeness, and then it kind of went into the Beetlejuice territory. Yeah. Not my proudest moment. Wasn't too happy with the Prismacolors at that point. If I just not kept touching it, and then I accidentally put some yellow on her nose, not knowing what color I had in my hand exactly at that moment, thinking it was more of a flesh tone, and it was not. So that went really, really south. But what last week when I did show this, the better version of this, someone asked me about whether or not I was mostly just focused on landscapes, which I do a lot of landscapes if you've been here for very long, hanging out with me, and but I have always done faces. I would say that people people's faces, people's likenesses were my first love. It's the first thing that I ever really remember wanting to draw that much. Nature kind of came later, off and on, and then more and more over the years. So I wanted to show you something else that I did a while back. As kind of like a statement to that. I know some of you've seen some of my earlier stuff, and you saw my project last year, and you've seen my attempts to draw people in the past. But you haven't seen what I'm about to show you. So let me move this aside. Okay. So this is something that I did many years ago. In a class. I used to take a class. I kept signing up for it over and over again. It was a portrait class. And we would have a model come in and sit for us for like 2.5 hours, something like that, with breaks and everything. And we would just try to draw or paint in oils, a likeness of the model. So this was one of my most favorite ones of this particular model that we got a lot. She was really pretty with pretty red hair, so I wanted to show you what this looks like. Get a couple of things to hold this out so you can see it. But what I did was when I moved, and so this is almost like an impressionist style because I had literally about 2 hours, 2.5 hours at the most. Probably closer to 2 because, you know, breaks and stuff, to do this. And out of the paintings that I did do of her, this was one of my most favorites. Over the years, I've gotten rid of a lot of things because I've had to move. Things happen and I've downsized, and sometimes I'm kind of brutal with my work, and I think no one likes anything that I do. So I just toss a bunch of stuff, and I felt like this was just trial. And I will say the other bad thing about this was the fact that this was back when I was buying that cheap canvas that you buy, the Fredericks cotton, it's 100% cotton or whatever, cheap canvas that you buy like at Michael's or whatever. I was just buying cheap panels and taking it to class and painting on them. So this is really cheap material that tends to fall apart easily over time. But when I moved, I just chopped it. I just chopped it off the wooden frame that it was on and rolled it up and put it away for safekeeping. But so that's something that I've done in the past. But it is just definitely more of an impressionist style, which I like it. I don't know if this is exactly where I would like to go in the future. But I do like it. There's a lot of aspects, a lot of color that I really love. The glow on her face that I really like about this particular painting. I'll show it to you up close if I can. I can get it to hold out correctly. The glow in her eyes and the gloss on her lips. Of course, that yellow glow is coming from a light we had shining on her. And she had this beautiful hair that she had dyed red. She was a very interesting girl. We used her a lot for a model. She was very cool. And let me show you my other one that is one of my favorites. This is probably the one I felt like I had done the best, my very best, I think, out of all the images, the portraits that I did in the many classes that I took at that time. I wished I had more stuff. I do have a drawing that I think I've shown on here before. I took a class at that same school with Scott Waddell. If you don't know who he is, he's an amazing painter. He's very, very detailed in the atelier style. And I took a drawing class with him. And I do still have one of the major drawings that we did from that class. But I don't have many of these quick paintings that I did. And maybe truly they weren't worth keeping. I don't know. But sometimes moving will do that to you. But I will say that because this image was so big, obviously in class I focused on her face, and that's what, I'm gonna get this up where you can see it and it's not messed up. Let's see. All the detail I did on her face in class, that's where my focus was. And but then because the canvas was so long, when I got home I kept trying to dink with it, and it got wonky because I no longer had the model in front of me, right? But I just realized when I took this out, I'm like, I don't have to keep all this anymore. I really just could find myself a frame that fits this and hang it up on the wall where I could enjoy it again. So I think I'm gonna do that. But again, this is also on that cheap cotton canvas. Literally this stuff just kind of starts rotting away. So that's the downside about, I think it'd be better if you wanted to do painting yourself, that oil painting or something like that, instead of using acrylic, I got a plane going over, instead of using cheap cotton canvas, you either like paint on a wood panel or something like that, or some product that doesn't fall apart, unless you truly want to invest in real linen. Sometimes I just gesso a board and paint straight on the board. At least I feel like as long as it's a good piece of wood, you know, that it won't rot and it'll be preserved for what it's worth. So anyways, I thought I'd show you this because I think what I am going to be doing is I am going to start dabbling a little bit on oils on here again pretty soon. And so if you're interested in oils, you're going to see a bit of that, because I'm going to try to start using some of my old references and some of the references that I have in my sketchbooks to actually do some paintings. Like even that drawing that I did last week in the woods, I thought that'd be really fun to use that and my reference photos to see if I could get something in oil or something like that on a piece of paper, or you know, eventually maybe even some acrylics. I don't know, just thoughts. I'm always trying different things, and I feel like I kind of like I'm all over the place. And if you've seen, I also do a little bit of like illustration work. That's also looks completely different. This looks maybe like, I would say this looks more like the kind of work I was doing last year in my project, because truly this is like when I'm just painting and I'm not trying to make it look illustration. It looks more like this style. And so I guess maybe in that way I'm consistent. It's just that this is truly an oil painting. So I thought you might find that interesting to see that kind of work. Sitting in the woods. It's pretty windy. That little page that I'm working on is looking kind of crazy too. Kind of abstracty. It makes no sense. It's okay. It's just a field sketch journal. Just a nature journal. But I do really like being outside, especially when you can finally find a spot that you're mostly comfortable and you start cluing in to the sounds of nature and the birds and the trees, and just being more present and grounded maybe, and less stressed. So that's what I like so much about being outside. You still have to be careful though. Still have to be cautious, but mostly it's crazy people I worry about. And rattlesnakes. I'm not looking my best these days, and I'm not feeling my best these days, but it's nice to be outside. It feels really pleasant right now. So pretty. Lots of new growth up there in the tree, but there's still some, oh, a lot of wind. But there's still some like autumny colors up in there that I'm seeing, but my glasses are off. So everything's condensed versus probably for what you're seeing. But I love that with the backlit and the light shining through the leaves. See how abstract that looks? It looks nothing like that. I know you think that, like, what is that? What is that? I mean, I just did make some marks, but because my eyes kept compensating, started off seeing just the brown and the abstract shades of the leaves in that brown mucky water. It's like a beautiful color of brown. But then the more I sat here, look, I don't know if you can start seeing it now, but look, can you see the sky? Can you see the reflection of the sky in the pond? And the longer you sit here and the longer you start looking at the reflection comes forward. And that's what you're seeing, is the reflection and not the leaves in the tree. And then other things start happening, like there's a little pond over here that's not a pond, but this is a stream that runs through here, and somewhere over here there's a tiny little spot where it's falling, little tiny waterfall, and it's making some dripping noises, waterfalling noises. I doubt you can hear it. I'd have to get up and I'd probably have to really do some work to get to it to hear it, because it's all flooded here. I can't even like cross over here because the stream is over flooded on this part of the trail. But it's a nice, cool, peaceful spot. And certainly I've got no foot traffic. I've been playing with these reflections in the pond. Kind of fun. It's still nature, but it's abstract, working out the reflections. Kind of fascinating, I think. I don't know if you can see them very well, but I'm kind of digging them. Some of these are like the leaves, the reflection of the leaves up above me. They kind of look dark. I don't know if you can see, so like, let's see, which tree am I working on? So like this right here. Of course, there's a big pop of light right now. Look at that big pop of amber polygon right there coming through the trees. But then where you see where the leaves are, you can see pops of bright green. No, I'm talking about the reflections only. But because of the shadows underneath the leaves, and of course it's just a reflection, they're kind of dark as well. And then you have this, just a myriad of colors here, just all kinds of fun stuff. So highly recommend, if you find a little pond or a little puddle somewhere, playing with reflections. Kind of abstract-y and fun. So there's where the sound is, part of it. You can see the tannin colors. You see that brown color? That's from all the leaves falling into the water. They start dyeing the water kind of a brownish color. That's called tannin. And there's another one over here somewhere. This too, another little place where water is making noises. Move this thing out of the way. See the little stream back there? Beautiful little stream. I'm sure lots of deer come here to get a little drink of water where it's nice and safe for the most part. How low, of course, my little chair is sinking into the ground because it's wet here. Look at the drawing. If you can see, let me see if I can turn this around. Look at it upside down. Now you can see the trees, but they're upside down in the reflection. Sort of cool. Got a local resident out for his afternoon snack. He will run away if he can. This is a gopher tortoise. Not all what you think are turtles are turtles. And they don't belong in water. They belong on land. He would die if he was in the water. He can live to be 100 years old. They get very old. He's probably 20 years. This little guy. He's like watching me. Buddy, it's okay. I'm not gonna bother you. I'm not gonna bother you. Hey, bud. What are you doing? It's a nice day, huh? Yeah, you gotta be like 20. That'd be my guess. Yeah, have a good day. I won't bother you. I'll see you later. Enjoy your lunch, your dinner, your early dinner. Bye. So long. It's a diamondback rattlesnake. Look. He's not sure if he should coil up or he's just trying to get away. I'm going to end the video here today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you gleaned something good, positive, or at least inspiring from today's video. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. I appreciate all your comments, all your kind words. All that helps me stay motivated to keep making videos for you, and also it inspires me to keep working on my own art journey and not get dissuaded or feel like my work doesn't matter. You guys really are great inspiration, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. All right, guys, I will see you next week, and until then, I hope you have a beautiful and blessed creative weekend or week ahead, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Annyeong. Bye.